about your book that I find so fascinating. Your book seems to be about solving big problems when your job description is getting people to buy things. And they're two different things.
That's one of the problems. I mean, one of the opportunity-stroke problems with advertising is that what something is worth is entirely dependent on how people perceive it. And so animadvertere, I think, comes from to direct attention towards. And it is very simple. A very, very simplest level, by the way. Nobody can buy something if they don't know of its existence. So, there's a very, no insect can visit a flower if it doesn't know it's there. So at, a very simple level, there's a kind of educational awareness function. And then you can take that further to add further value by, for example, framing the price of something in a way that makes it attractive. I'll tell you a lovely little story about, I couldn't get my father, who's now 93, I couldn't get him to get multi-channel television. He'd grown up in the UK, you'd had 3 channels, latterly you had 4. And I said, look, and actually his 4th channel was in Welsh because he lives in Wales. So it was, so I said, look, Dad, you really need this. I mean, you're retired, you're at home a lot, television is great. And he said, yeah, but it's sort of £18 a month, which it was at the time then, on top of the license fee. And I offered to pay for it. I'm not that stingy. I said, well, I'll pay for it for you. No, it's too expensive. And then I said, very simply, it's not £18 a month. It's 60 pence a day. I said, well, why does that make any difference? I said, you spend £2 a day on newspapers. If you spend £2 a day on newspapers, spending 60 pence a day on 7 news channels, and you'll get, 96 history, Smithsonian channels like that. Oh, I see what you mean. I didn't even have to pay for it. He went and bought it himself. And it's probably contributed, over the last 15 years to his happiness pretty significantly. He absolutely loves it. And so sometimes, it's simply a question of we will naturally attach a value to something based on a fairly split-second knee-jerk heuristic. £17 a month is a lot, okay, compared to the license fee. If you simply change the frame of reference. And so in that sense, it's actually in a funny kind of way helping other people be creative, in that it's actually encouraging other people to look at things in more than one way. And so, I also make the point that this goes much deeper because I think an innovation is only any good if you can actually persuade people to buy it at some level. And if you look at Steve Jobs, okay, if you look at Edison, if you look at, whether you like him or not, Elon Musk, okay, they're actually kind of hucksters as well as they're technologists, actually. Edison to an extraordinary, Henry Ford to an astonishing degree. They're marketers in a sense as much as they are inventors. But
otherwise we might not have ever heard of them.
My wife's a vicar in the Church of England, and if she ever gives me a hard time about working in marketing, I always say no one would have heard of Jesus if it wasn't for St. Paul. That actually there is a fundamental role in terms of simply, garnering attention. And quite often I think, the thing that annoys me at the moment is solar panels are very, very good, and far cleverer people than me have worked out how to make them to a high degree of efficiency, but no one's worked out how to sell them. Now, most people don't like writing a check for $40,000 for a one-off installation on a home they may be planning to sell, which has a 2% chance of going really badly wrong, either structurally or your local electricity provider won't pay you for the surplus, for example. Now, the way to sell something like that is modular. Okay, try 2 solar panels and, it will contribute towards charging your car. Then if you like that, buy 2 more. Now, I can see people doing that much, much more readily than making a massive kind of, one-off commitment. Also, just by the law of numbers, people have a spare $2,000 much more frequently than they have a spare $30,000. Okay? Yes. The first is comparatively much more common than the second. So if you don't, there's a wonderful quote, Kumal Galhotra, who's the head of Ford North America, who says car making is 100,000 rational decisions in search of one emotional decision. And ultimately, the most inefficient thing in an economy is to produce something utterly brilliant and then fail to sell it.